Hey, look at that. It's Groove Diner After Dark, Season 3. I can't believe it. This is going to be so much fun for the next 3 months, maybe even a little more than that. 13 weeks. We get to do this. We get to talk to each other. Interviews with artists, singers, drummers, actors, maybe even just a conversation between us. It's going to be so much fun. I can barely wait. So let's get this thing started tonight, right now. We'll be right back. The all-new GrooveDinerAfterDark.com is your home for all the things that groove. Watch live episodes, visit the archives, check out the YouTube channel, learn more about your host. Own some merchandise. We've got it all under one roof. Updates will continue to roll out throughout the season, including video drum lessons, industry coaching, production tips, and much more. Tune in for the show, then visit the website each and every week so that you can answer that most important question. Do you groove? And clearly, you do groove. Why? Because you're here with us for Season 3, Groove Diner After Dark. I can't even believe it. It's unbelievable. I don't believe it. Here we are. Eli's back with me. It's so good to already see so many of you chiming in right off the bat from around the world. It's really amazing to be here and to see you all here. I can't wait to have this whole season unfold for you. It's already been fun for us. We've been working for several months now getting this all together because you know us. We're always wanting to push the level and make everything better and better and better every year. We've got a brand new website, GrooveDinerAfterDark.com. Go there, check it out. All the things that I just said in the promo. You can check out everything there, see it all there. It's really cool. If you are here with us tonight on Facebook or Twitch, or if you're on YouTube, please say hi. We'd like to know where you are and who you are and that you're here with us. It's hard to get a grip on the numbers sometimes because it's so there's so much activity, and I just enjoy it so much. We still make this live every time we do this so that we can have this direct interaction with you. We wouldn't miss it for the world. Don't forget, we've also got social media channels, Groove Diner After Dark YouTube, Groove Diner After Dark Facebook, Groove Diner After Dark Instagram. And now I've personally Got a TikTok page. Not sure what to make of that. Not sure what to do with it, but it's there. I don't even know what I'm actually doing. But hey, I'm eating chips. At least that's what I heard. So join me on TikTok. It's at Buddy Gibbons over there. So check that one out for me. I'm already seeing people all over. Hey, Gina Adams, David Stanek, how you doing, my friend? Reggie Doss, man, it's been too long. I have missed you guys so much. You have no idea. Toby Simmons, of course, is here with us right here in Encino. Charles Anderson where are you, Charles? You're in South Africa. I'm kidding. But you are in South Africa. I know that. Veronica, all the way down in Australia. It's 3 p.m. tomorrow where you are. I love that. Dave Hamilton, awesome. Mark Branson, Leslie Butts. This is fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us. Laura Grantier, where are the chips? Who said anything about chips? I'm not saying there are chips down there. I'm saying there might be chips down there. Maybe for later. Oh my God, my goodness. We have got such a great slate of guests this season. It's just, even my own mind is kind of blown. It's just amazing to me. Tonight's guest, wow. I can't even tell you. Wait a minute. I just got to address this. That's right. My wife just said that I hid the Pringles from her. If I didn't, I wouldn't have any to do the videos with. She'd eat them all. Anyway, that's true. Tonight's guest, Donald Barrett, one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. Donald, I don't know if you're with us tonight or not, but if you are, say hi. Live on the stream. It's been so fun talking with him, knowing him, and seeing how he interacts as a professional and as a person. This interview that we shot just a couple of weeks ago, it's one of my favorite interviews ever, and I think you're going to really enjoy getting to know him a bit, just like I have too. So, there he is. There's Donald. He is here. Thanks for joining us, man. If you have any questions for Donald, if you have any questions for me, we'll let them roll. We're going to definitely address them. And for right now, we're going to take you to the interview, and we're gonna get this thing started right. Welcome to season 3. Eli?
Roll it.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Tonight, we've got Donald Barrett. I could list his credits, but I don't really have enough time in this interview to do that. The guy is seriously accomplished. Welcome, and thanks for being here.
Man, thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm so glad to have you. No joke. It's not often that I meet a drummer and their list of credits intimidates me.
Wow.
Yours does. I mean, it's like
that's thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like a bum, but thank you.
Well, we all do, I think, but you are actually not.
I appreciate
Gosh,
that.
man. We've met a couple of times in the past.
Yeah.
You know, and I always knew what a respected guy you are in the industry. That's a big thing. But really, no joke, when I started reading down things you've done, it just kind of blew my mind. Just as a for instance, we're going to talk about a lot of these as we go here tonight, but Tony Braxton,
Yeah.
George Benson, Snoop Dogg, I got a little story about that one. Colby Calais, that's another one.
Yeah.
Sade, I can't even talk about how much
Me neither.
I mean, fair enough. Seal, I mean, Pink,
God.
New Kids on the Block. My wife, by the way, when I said you had done the New Kids thing, that was when that snapped her head.
That's when everything stopped.
Yeah.
The whole world stood still.
What? He was he what? That was the moment, man. Oh my gosh.
Man.
So seriously,
Yeah,
congratulations.
Wow. I'm glad I could help out with that.
Yeah, right. Oh man.
Help facilitate.
Let's talk a little bit. You're from outside Chicago.
Yes, I am. I'm from a it's not a small town, but it is a northern suburb of Chicago, Waukegan, Illinois.
Right.
And it's about 40 miles north. It's literally borderline Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much. So it's up there. And yeah, just a beautiful small town, and that's where I was pretty much born and raised.
Nice.
And then when I was about 16, I moved to live with my dad, and my dad lived in the south suburbs, so it was like a whole nother transition to go from north to south culturally and also musically. And so yeah, that's where I'm from. Yeah, Waukegan, Illinois.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of cool drummers.
Are there?
Yeah,
Like
Marvin Smitty Smith
You're kidding.
is from actually the same high school. We had the same band director.
Did you really?
I had John Lang, who was the band director at Waukegan High School, it was basically his last year of his life.
Gotcha.
And he passed the next year unexpectedly. He was older, but you know, I tease him about that. You know, whenever we see each other, like, man, we had the same
right.
you know, band instructor. But yeah, Waukegan.
That's really cool. Yeah. I have a Smitty story.
Really?
I have to tell you, yeah. I had a serious elbow problem about 10 years ago and like thought I might have to retire from playing.
Wow.
In the midst of it all, I was getting a lot of cortisone injections and such just to survive. And I was at NAMM. Shaking hands was a real challenge. So going to NAMM, you know what that's like.
Yeah,
it's everybody.
It's everybody shaking hands. Yeah.
And I had figured out ways to kind of deal with it. And then I walked up and saw Smitty, and he's probably got the strongest hands of anybody I've ever.
Short dude with big, strong hands.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And when he squeezed my hand, my elbow just kind of went boom. And it blew me up. I had to go sit down because I was crying.
Really?
Because it hurt so bad.
Wow.
I mean, oh my gosh. But talk about a great player. Man, that's cool that you're from the same high school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really cool.
Nice. So when did the drumming bug hit? Were you a pots and pans kid? Or?
Yeah, I started at around 3.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in a church. My dad at the time was just a minister who's now a pastor. So I'm a PK, preacher's kid.
Okay.
But it started around 3, and you know, the drummers would always be playing, obviously, with the choir and everything. Sure. And you know, my dad said I would just always find my way, you know, on the ground looking up at the drummer as they're going in, and you know, they would lose me during services and just, you know, all the shenanigans. But that's when it happened. And then, you know, my mom, you know, they have pictures of it. Like I would come home and I would yank off the white part of the coat hangers, you know, those older coat hangers, the cardboard part. And I would just yank them off, and I would just start beating the couch, and just to the point where they finally got the church to donate an old kit, which is the Royce kit that I was telling you about, the red sparkle Royce kit with calfskin remote heads. And they got them to donate that to me. I was like 4 by the time I got that, and boom, off to the race. You couldn't get me away from the drums.
So your drum set was first for you then?
Drum set, yes.
So were you ever a rudimental guy? You said you were in a band.
It happened a little later, like around 5th grade.
Right.
I was actually, you know, there was no music classes or band classes in 5th grade, but one day this guy walked into our room, and the teacher was like, "Hey, I want you to meet," you know, I can't remember his name, but you know, he came in and said, "Hey, I'm teaching instruments, and anybody who wants to learn an instrument." Of course, I just like raised my hand, like I do. Yeah. And then, you know, he was like, "Cool, what do you want to learn?" I was like, "Well, I play drums," you know. Right. He says, "Well, you know, do you know your rudiments?" I was like, "No." He said, "You know how to read?" I said, "No, I haven't gotten any formal training yet." And then so the next week we started, and I walked into but I walked in and I thought that there would be this elaborate drum set like this, and we would just start learning all the crazy stuff. And I walked in, there was a classroom. I didn't see any instruments. I didn't see anything. And then he walked me over to this table, and there was this slanted old school practice pad.
I know the one.
Wooden with that plastic top.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, what are we going to do with that? And he pulled out some sticks, and he said, we're going to learn our rudiments.
There you go.
Pull out a Haskell Harp book, volume 1, you know, and that, and to this day, that those books stick with me, and that was the beginning of that.
That's
around 5th
awesome.
grade.
I love
that. Yeah.
That's slanted. So you play traditional grip.
Well, I did it backwards. I would start off match and then start to learn traditional.
Me too, actually.
Yeah, you too. Yeah,
I started off match, learned traditional. It was like when I learned traditional, the whole thing just made sense to me.
Oh yeah, just the whole world opens up.
I don't know how to that's weird because usually it's the other way around. You know.
Yeah.
That was strange.
A lot of sensibilities in traditional grip.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's fun to me to talk to guys who were drum set specialists from the beginning, because I was I didn't even get my first drum set until I was about 20, 21.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't understand it at all.
Wow.
Yes.
Now that baffles me, and also makes me feel more like a bum, because it's like, you know, then you're doing all this work, and it's just like, wait a minute, I've been playing since I was 3 years old. It's like, you know, you hear about, I just picked up a drumstick at 25 and I just started playing.
That wasn't me. No. I mean, I was a rudimental
and by 30, I was taking over the world.
Right.
No, it's all good.
No, I'm not.
No, that's amazing. Yeah. Right. That's awesome.
No, man. I was a rudimental geek. I mean, I still am a band geek anyway.
Yeah.
I just love it. That's why I was kind of curious,
Yeah.
I listed off some of your credits. I want to talk to you specifically. You currently are with Lady Gaga.
Correct.
And you guys are doing a Vegas thing right now, a residency there. I'm sure it's been well-trodden ground talking about your gig with her. A question I want to know, and this is something we talked about. We were at a drummer's brunch not so long ago, and we ended up sitting at the same table talking for an hour, I think.
For an hour, yeah.
A question that came up that day, and I'm going to ask it differently tonight, is what are some of the unique challenges, let me put it that way, of dealing with demanding superstars, because she is known to be a demanding superstar with good reason.
Yeah.
I mean, she knows what she wants. She's going to get it or you're fired.
Yeah.
And that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Is there a bigger superstar in the world? It's pretty hard to say,
It's hard.
So the demands that she is known to put on her musicians.
Yeah.
I know for sure that she went through a whole pile of them, and then you got the gig and it's like all good.
Yeah.
Tell me some about not really how you landed the gig, but really how you've kept the gig. Tell me how has that worked for you? How have you dealt with the ins and outs of that?
I don't know. I'm the type of drummer and type of musician who loves to study.
Yeah.
And so I look at drums when it comes to us as artists, and when we work with other artists or singers or whatever, I kind of look at it like as getting into character. So if you're gonna play for country artists, you're gonna play with a pop artist, you're gonna play with whatever it is, it's like first getting into character of the music, that styles that you're gonna play before it's even about the artist, it's about the music.
Right.
And then once you come in contact with that artist, or you're gonna be working with the artist, I do a lot of research.
Sure.
So it's not like a weird kind of stalkish thing. It's just like I want to know as much detail as I can about the artist that I'm going to be potentially working for.
Sure.
And then once I've kind of did a little bit of that and watched their videos and seen some of their concerts and just kind of seen some of their mannerisms, then at that point it's just a feel thing. Right. It's like meeting them, talking, and just being yourself and just coming in and doing the best job that you can. Right. She's big on vibes, and so, she wants you to be comfortable. She wants to feel comfortable. And it's our job to make sure that no matter who the artist is, that they are comfortable.
Sure.
And so I just always kind of just approached it like that, know, and then I come in, I just, play my behind off, man. I just come in, just kind of try to manage the gig and like push the gig the best of my ability. I know that she can be very soft-spoken, but she's a very flamboyant, as her brand is, right?
Sure, right,
if you've ever seen her on
she
TV,
wore a
she's
meat dress.
Huge. Right, exactly. Yeah. So, the one thing, like the gig we're doing in Vegas is a jazz gig, but it's not like, a jazz trio gig. We're playing with a 40-piece orchestra, big band, on stage. And so I have to drive this monstrosity of a big band live, old school style, and so I can't just focus on playing and getting all the hits and playing the music. I also have to be extremely focused on her. Right. And so I watch her mannerisms, and after a while, I just leave the ink and just watch her and be as big as she is.
Sure.
And engage with her.
That's interesting.
And I think that engagement is probably what has allowed me to connect and just continue to be around.
How long have you been on the gig?
I started in 2019.
Yeah, okay. So that's a long time for that gig.
Yeah, it is. And but I study a lot of drummers who play with a lot of those type of artists. Jonathan Moffett, who worked with Michael Jackson. Ricky Lawson, who's passed.
Crash cymbals back behind.
Yes,
his head.
right. Yeah, exactly. But Jonathan used to talk about, and even whenever I got a chance to just kind of hang with him, he would talk about how he would watch every little move Michael would do.
Right.
And he would do things that other drummers wouldn't do with him. Basically, Michael could just do this, and there'd be a switch somewhere. Right. And he loved that because it meant you were paying attention.
Yeah, for sure.
Some guys, they get those big gigs and they come in and they'll play the gig, but that's kind of the deal. I'm just in, I'm working, I'm out. Right. But you don't really engage the person you're working for or working with. And,
right.
I just try to, no matter what the gig is or who the artist is, just engage them and engage the gig as much as I can, and own it, and hopefully it works out.
Man, well, clearly it does. Seriously, I love the fact that you do that and that you try to push the gig, because I mean no disrespect with what I'm about to say, and we may have to cut this later. But I mean no disrespect with what I'm about to say, but a lot of guys that I talk to only want to do one thing: stay out of the way. And some gigs, sure,
yeah,
absolutely, but some gigs you need to push. I'm curious how you know when to do what. Because what if you go to a Gaga gig and you're like, I'm going to just be wallpaper and play the grooves?
Then that's when I'll be fired.
Right, exactly.
That's when I'll be fired.
Right. So how do you know how to navigate that?
It's for me. I mean, and I don't want this to come off as contrived or egotistical, but for me, it's just natural. Like, it's a personality. It's like, I just want to come in with love.
Sure.
And that's what pushes it. I just try to bring positive energy, positive vibes, and I try to come in with the intent to engage and affect the gig as positive as possible. And that means that I can't stay in my shell, or I can't cut off everything else. And it doesn't start with the artist. It starts with your bandmates on stage.
Yeah.
That engagement level is important. And then it matriculates around the stage, and, it starts to fester. And with an artist like her or whoever that has a big personality,
right,
if you are engaged with them or with the gig, then it hits you as well.
Right.
So you want to give, I don't know if you've ever done a session or a tour or you just been in a room where someone of a high stature walks in.
Oh yeah.
The momentum of the weight that they carry when they come in.
Yes.
It makes everybody kind of sit up like this. If President Biden walked in right now, no politics, but President Biden walked in right now, you're going to walk in and you're kind of going to be a little bit more like, wow, there's a reverence.
Right.
And I think that's what it is. Like, I have reverence for every artist, no matter how big or small they are. I just try to treat it with respect and give it everything I got.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I completely get that. I'll never forget, speaking of Vinny a minute ago, he walked into a gig I was playing and I was like, oh, okay. Okay, how what do I do?
That's nerve-wracking.
Oh man,
that's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it was like, all right. Don't overplay it. You're not him. Just keep playing. Just keep playing. Yeah, it's this whole dialogue.
Wait, he's playing. He's like, you will never be him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that was totally me.
You will
never gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
Now it's funny that you say that, because like even for me, like one of the, obviously doing the Gaga gig has allowed me to have a lot of exposure to a lot of other major artists. I mean, we've had Sting to the show. We've had a lot of amazing artists, BTS. I mean, we've had just all these crazy artists, and it's and it's great to meet them and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I don't really think about that. I just like kill the gig.
Right.
But like, I'm getting ready to do PASIC in a couple weeks,
which
is like one of the biggest drum festivals. And it's in Indianapolis, and they're huge on education. And I mean, the first day is Dave Weckl and Omar King. And then the next day is like me and a couple other amazing drummers. And it's like, it's crazy because it's like, but it's about 6,000 drummers.
Right.
So it's like, for me, that's nerve-wracking.
Yes, sir.
Now I got to sit down and play for other drummers who love this instrument as much as I do, and some more, because they're around it 24/7, and that's nerve-wracking for me. So what you just said, like, it could be Vinny, it could be the kid down the street. I'm just like, oh great, I gotta play it, like, but
dude, doing a drum clinic in front of like 60 drummers, oh my god,
bro, it's crazy. It's
Come on.
It's like, but even then, you just have to like do this and just like go and then
clear
just,
the mechanism.
That's it, man. But that's cool that you said that.
That's I love that. Just as a quick sidebar, is the Snoop Dogg thing. What did you do with Snoop?
Snoop Dogg. I did a couple things. So the gigs that I worked with him were through Greg Fillinganes.
Oh yeah, sure.
Who I've come to work with. Yes, amazing pianist, composer, music director for Michael Jackson for years.
Right.
He's part of the Quincy Jones camp.
Right.
That I grew up loving. We Are the World and all of those. So when I finally got a chance to work with Greg, it was just like, it was like the whole world stopped. It was like your wife and like new kids on the block. It was like this is it. This is Greg Fillinganes. This is like this is like all those records. And so
that was Abe Laboriel Sr. for me.
Oh yeah, Abe. And such a warm, the warmest dude ever.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so it's crazy. So through him, I got a chance to join his band, and he, have several shows over the year. And the first thing we did was this benefit, and Snoop was one of the artists, and that was cool. We were honoring Lionel Richie, so
nice,
that was really fun.
Yeah.
And then the next show we did was a Grammy show, and it was for P-Funk, for the Funkadelics, for Parliament.
Yeah.
And that's how I got a chance to work with Parliament and
Nice.
Sheila E. and the whole gang. And again, Greg was the MD for that.
Sure.
And of course, Snoop Dogg. Somehow he finds his way on everything. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I just did, what's that, last year? I did this TV show. It's called Live in Front of a Studio Audience. And I was in a house band. This wasn't Greg. This was a guy named Che Alera. He was a music director, but it's basically Norman Lear, the guy who created All in the Family.
Right.
So
like
they
the whole
recreated,
70s.
Yes, the whole 70s.
Yeah, all the TV on,
if you're alive then, or if you love those shows,
then
like
Norman Lear.
That exactly. And so every year they take about 2 of his shows and they do them live in front of a studio audience.
Right.
So of course we're getting ready. We're sound checking, like, playing The Facts of Life and Different Strokes, and those were the 2 shows that they were filming that year. And of course I'm playing, and then who walks in? I smell the scent, and I'm just like, I'm like, this is Snoop again.
You smelled him
comes
before
in
you
with
saw
his
him?
entourage.
That's so funny.
And he was on the show, and so it's cool. I mean, that's the thing about this town, and you just never know who you're going to end up working with.
I ended up playing with Coolio a few times.
You see what I'm saying?
And Snoop showed up.
And showed up.
What?
You see, he's like the Godfather.
Yeah, totally.
He might show up.
He probably is coming in now. Yeah.
You gotta wait and see if you smell.
I do have new neighbors.
I know, right?
Groove Diner After Dark, the store. Get your official Groove Diner merchandise by visiting our new store at groovedinerafterdark.com. Coffee mugs, long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, pint glasses, stickers. Now you can show your support of Groove Diner After Dark from head to toe. Simply visit our website or click the link in this video description and get your gear today. Thank you for your support. You mentioned Greg Fillinganes being the MD, musical director. For those of you who are not a medical doctor,
Medical doctor.
You were the MD for Colby Calais. I want to know about being an MD behind the drum chair. I do it a lot. I'd like to know what your thoughts are on it and how that impacts how you approach the gig.
That was very nerve-wracking because up to that point, I've never had been I put together bands,
sure,
for certain events or, small around the town things,
right.
But I mean, Colby Calais is an international artist.
Absolutely.
And so Che Alera, the guy who I did the Norm Lear shows with, Che was her musical director. He wasn't going to go on the road. So he became more of the contractor, and he basically asked, hey, this is this new tour. What do you think about being music director? I said, no. I was like, y'all not putting that on me. He's like, no, I think you have what it takes. And my career has been full of those. Like, right. I think you have what it takes, and then you're thrown into the situation, and you're like, well, how did I get here? Like, what's going on? But it was cool. I learned a lot. At first it was very nervous because even though I knew Colby or in the working relationship, I just didn't know exactly what she wanted day to day, and so it just took time to really kind of get to know her music more. And just, I always say being a music director is a glorified personal assistant, like administrative assistant, because in that genre of music or in pop music, when you're a music director, yes, you put the music together,
right,
but you're really kind of the liaison between the artist and the band.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the label or management and the band as well. That's because true. Management will come to you first before they go to the band.
That's true.
So there's a lot of fire sometimes you have to put out, but sometimes the thing I love about being a music director is that you get a chance to also implement kind of your personality into the gig.
Yeah, right.
And so I handle it really with a lot of care, and it's always about what the artist wants, but there's times where you have to be honest too. Like, I don't know if we should do that set that way. What if we change this song here?
Right.
And if they're adamant on having that, cool. But if they're open and it allows, for that play of just like, okay, great. And then it's done and everybody's excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, music director is interesting. I'm the music director at my church,
right.
The Fountain Christian Center, and we're in Pomona, California. And
right.
it's a pretty intense chair because we have a 9-piece ensemble, 4-piece band, and we're broadcasting ministry. So we multi-track every service and cameras flying around.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work throughout the week putting set lists together, and that whole deal. But one thing I will say about it is that it definitely stretches me and teaches me a lot more things about myself from a musical and from a administrative standpoint.
Right.
That allows that to carry on to other things that I may do as well in the industry.
When I was in Nashville, I lived there for about 8 years. One of the things that I did quite a bit toward the latter part of it was produce live shows. I was the guy that would produce live shows. And what I found was all of the things you're talking about, the liaison part of the job was a bigger part of it than the actual producing of the show.
Yes.
Because the producing of the show is, hey, I need you to do this thing. Cool. And it might be 10 of those, but once it's done, it's done.
It's done.
But dealing with all the ins and outs of venues and oh, wait, where can everybody park? Wait, you mean we've got to load up the stairs? All of these things, right? Yeah. And I think people miss that sometimes, that it can be about that. I've always said that drummers are great musical directors because we're in the center of the stage and nothing gets by us. We know everything that's going on stage.
You're the heartbeat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, if a guitar player hits a wrong chord, I'm like, oh, I heard that.
You heard that. Yeah.
Things like that. If I hit a wrong drum thing, people don't really know usually.
There's ways to hide.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Awesome.
You ever have a moment on stage that you might have been embarrassed about?
Oh.
Tell me a good story about something
on stage. Now you put me under the
okay. Well, here's mine. I'll tell you mine. I counted off. It was a big band thing.
Yeah.
And about 5,000 people in the crowd. I walked in, had never met anybody. I had a 19-inch ride cymbal with me for whatever reason.
Right.
Just nothing to power the band with. And the first couple of songs, reading charts. Everything was cool. The first couple of songs. Then the third one came up, and I counted it 1, 2, 3, 4. It was in 6.
Oh, man. That went over well.
Oh, my gosh. The trumpet players nearly fell backwards off the risers. It was bad. So,
Oh, man.
That sort of thing.
I won't say what gig it was, but it was a pretty prominent gig.
Yeah.
And we were on tour, and it was stressful. And I just never forget, like, we were in the heat of this song. And it just grew, and it's one of those infectious grooving songs that just can keep going for years and hours. Yeah. And it was going, but like we were not supposed to end it yet. And I was like, okay, boom, 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 we're done. And the artist turns around and was like, okay, I guess the song is over. Everybody was like, yo, what's going on?
That's awesome. I love that.
Man. But, I mean, every once in a while those things happen.
Yeah,
I mean, not so much anymore, but because I love my job.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, I think, we all have those moments that are just like, oh crap, what did I just do?
Did I really do that?
Or just like sometimes you blank and it's just like, wait a minute, what's going on? You know what I mean? It's like, we all have those, and they make for good stories later on.
They do, don't they? I don't care. I don't care how long I've been on a gig.
Yeah.
Every song, I write the beginning of every song on my snare drum head.
Oh,
because
wow.
I will blank.
You will yeah.
So I put guitar 4, whatever it is, so that I know exactly what it is. Title of the song, and I write it in Sharpie on the snare head.
On the snare.
So that I have it right here.
That's awesome, man.
I can't not do it because I know for sure I'm going to be like, nope, that's not what song is it? How does this go?
They all sound the same.
They do, right? Man.
Awesome, man.
I discovered something really great about you today.
Mm-hmm.
Your solo record, Futurama.
Oh wow! Did you? I thought it was taken off already.
I found it and I loved it.
Wow, deep.
It
man.
was great.
Deep, man. Cool.
You produced it. You wrote it. You drummed it. The drumming's freaking phenomenal. I don't even. Holy cow! What happened with it? Where is it?
I had it taken down. I am going to re-release it.
Okay.
I think it was just one of those things where I was at this point of my life, not too long ago actually, where I just wanted to start putting out my own music. I hear a lot of music in my head, and I only play piano enough to hammer out melodies. But I'm not a singer. I don't play guitar. I don't do all of that. So I had a friend of mine who I was working with quite extensively at the time. And I was just like, I got all this music in my head. And so he's like, man, well, just sing it into your memo, to your voice memo. And then let's see if we can, figure it out.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had a lot of time during the time. So I just did that. I probably have about 7 or 8 tunes now that I have not recorded, and that are like that. But yeah, that was like a labor of love, and I brought in some good friends to help me, record
the sax
Futurama. I have another song called "Moving Forward Without Moving Backwards," and it's funny you bring up those songs because, right before I took them down, which I'm kind of glad I didn't take them down at this point, this film music supervisor hit me up and was like, hey, someone just told me about you. Then I did some research, and then I just heard Futurama and Moving Forward, I'm Moving Backward. I was like, oh my God, like I got to get you on this film and get you to work on the music. And I was like, yeah, I think you can call John Williams. And again, it was one of those moments of, no, I think you have what it takes to do this. And it's just like,
and what was the film?
The film is called Frank and Ava. It's not out now on Amazon Prime.
I know that.
So Frank and Ava is a story about Frank Sinatra, Ava Gardner. It's their tumultuous love story. It was a movie that I worked on for about 2 or 3 years, and I probably co-wrote about 5 or 6 of the original pieces of music, and I worked really hard with everybody in the camp just to kind of help bring the film, the music, alive in the film. And the lady who actually brought me on the film passed while we were working on the film, and Rico Simonini, who actually plays Frank Sinatra in the film, and was the executive producer. It was funny because he's an Italian guy from New York, right?
He is, yeah.
And of course, you're dealing with a movie like Frank Sinatra. It's very touchy, and nobody really would touch a Frank Sinatra film in Cali. I don't know if that's by order or by or what, but when she passed, Elaine Macaluso was her name. God rest her soul. He called me and said, hey, listen, we have the funeral. We know Elena's gone, but I still need to finish this film, and I still need to finish the music for this film. So I need you to, I think you would be awesome as composer and film supervisor. And I was just like, no. He's like, no, just come meet with me. So I went and I met with him for lunch at this really cool place in Hollywood, and nobody was in there. No, actually, yeah, there was a couple people in there at another table, and I walked in. And I was like, man, he's not here yet. And I was sitting in a corner, and then these like wise guys type dudes start walking in. Like, no, I am not joking. This really happened.
Cast of The Sopranos or something?
Yeah, like I'm just like, I've seen some of these guys somewhere before. And they walk in and they have this long table set up. And they sit down there and they start doing the whole good old boy thing, like talking about like New York and the Bronx and all this stuff. And I'm just like, okay, where's Rico? Because I'm like, man, is there like a FBI car out there? Because I'm like, this feels weird. And then Rico walks in, and they're like, Rico. So I'm like, of course, Rico would invite me to some mobster type thing, right? So they all like, hey, Rico, blah, blah. And then Rico's like, hey, this is my friend Donald. Donald, come over here to the table. He introduced me to everybody. Nice. He starts naming everybody. And these characters were in The Godfather. And all these are like his friends. So Rico Simonini, to make this long story short, is one of the top heart cardiologists in the world. Okay. Like he sits on the board of Cedars-Sinai, but he doubles as an actor.
Right. Okay.
So he's been in tons of film and so Frank and is his baby.
Right.
And so he sat me down at this table. Hey guys, this is my friend Donald. He's an amazing young drummer. He plays for a lot of artists. He's gonna take over the music for the film. And everybody's like, yeah, because some of these people were in the movie,
Right.
So one guy turns over to me. He's like, oh, so you're gonna do the music, right? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do the music. He says, great. He's like, man, I know you're gonna do a great job. I was like, yeah. He was like, great, because if not, you'll be sleeping with the fishes. I was like, what? I was like, and he started laughing, and Rico started laughing, and then the rest is history. And then he got the movie made, and it's out on Amazon Prime now. But Frank and Ava, so yeah, so that was a lot. And I got a chance to get a lot of friends on that film.
Right.
And that's one thing I love about like this town, and when you get to do projects, and when you are a music director, and you have places of somewhat powers that you can bring friends along.
That's right.
Who like, man, this would be great exposure for you. And so whenever I watch the movie now, it's like I see friends on the set, and I'm just like, oh man, this is so cool.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Speaking of all things movie, you've been a drum consultant on quite a few films. Explain that to the viewers, what that is, because I'm assuming that say I don't know, pick a movie, that thing you do, that features drums, that you're teaching the actor how to.
Yeah. Well, that thing you do is kind of interesting, because that thing you do is like, first of all, it's one of my favorite movies. Oh, yeah. Tom Hanks is like one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
And actually all those drummers who played on that film soundtrack were all like amazing drummers.
Billy Ward, I think.
Billy Ward, and there was a few others who were just like crushed that, you know. But basically what I did for like Coming to America, the sequel that just came out about a year ago, I worked on the score with Jermaine Stigall, who is the composer of the film.
Right, I know Jermaine, actually.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. We were both voting members on a particular awards committee.
Yeah. So Jermaine, me and Jermaine, we went to college together.
No kidding.
And so we have a long history together.
Nice.
And so basically, he called me as soon as he got the movie. He was like, man, I'm doing this movie. I can't tell anybody. So I gotta tell you. So he told me it was like the new Coming to America. And if you don't know about Coming to America, the first movie, the Eddie Murphy movie, is like a cultural phenomenon.
Absolutely.
Movie. Like it's really, especially in the Black culture, it's one of those cult films. Like it's just, first of all, it's just hilarious, and it's great for everybody.
Ridiculously
but it's ridiculously funny.
Yeah.
So the fact that they were going to mess with a second one had everybody nervous. Yeah. And so the first thing he said was like, I want you on there. So I was like, whatever. I mean, they were a year away from doing anything.
Right.
So basically we spent an hour at that moment talking about drums, all things drums, African drums, the history of drums. Yeah. I share with him what I learned about, African drums and talking drums and what drums originally were used for in Africa. And throughout his time of just putting everything together, he would just call me and say, hey, do you know about this drum? Do you know about that drum? And then we'll get online and we'll research and talk. And that's basically what that was like.
That's cool.
And he would just like, man, if you got any other cool ideas about different drums, and he had a percussion player that was going to obviously be on the score or whatever. But then when it came to all the drum set stuff, he's like, come on, man, let's like get in there and do it. And
nice.
so that's pretty much it. And then Dreamgirls, I worked on Dreamgirls, which was a lot of fun. But they asked me to be in the movie and actually work on a score, but I was on tour at the time.
Right.
So I couldn't do it. But what I did was I was at all the rehearsals. That movie is a heavy musical.
Yeah, for sure.
So, their dancers needed bands to be there live.
Right,
so I would come in and then I would just make up new parts and stuff like that. And they would write them in and it became part of the movie,
That's
the
cool.
film.
Yeah.
And so, thank you, special payments. AFML, special payments. Thank you.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
But yeah, so it's fun.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
So this is Blast Beats with Donald. We ready for this?
I'm not.
I know, right? How good are you at ping pong?
Really good.
Are you?
Yeah.
Like, are you an upside down paddle kind of guy?
My dad was an avid ping pong player.
Really?
We had one in our house.
I love that.
Yeah. So
That's
I love
fantastic.
ping pong.
In your real life, are you organized or are you a mess?
Both.
Define that.
I'm a domesticated husband and father. But things are all over the place.
Okay, fair enough. This will be an interesting one based on the story you just told. Shawshank or Godfather?
Godfather.
Okay, I figured as much. Yeah, I knew that was going to be that one. Would you rather be at a beach resort or a mountain retreat?
Beach resort.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
There's just something there, right?
Yeah, something about the water. I love the water.
Do you wear socks with sandals?
No, never.
Okay, thank God. Okay.
Yeah.
Who was your first celebrity crush, other than Tom Hanks, of course?
Other than Tom Hanks? Oh my God. Celebrity crush. Oh man. Man, celebrity crush. Probably when I was a kid, like Megan Good.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, she was on a lot of movies like growing up, like during my like adolescence.
Right.
And it was like, but yeah, she was like one of the ones that everybody was like, oh my God, like that's the
I get it.
I was too young for like Halle Berry and all the other ones that everybody else was into.
I get it.
You know what I mean? But yeah,
All right, good. I'll take that for sure.
Yeah.
You get to pick one and only one Desert Island album.
Desert Island album.
Yeah.
I don't like those questions.
I know, right? because it's one.
It's because it's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like those questions.
Because we all want to have our entire iTunes playlist with us, right?
Those questions. Yeah. I mean, there is not just one.
Never.
Yeah. There's not one. I would say though, if there was one, it would be my band's record, Improv Trio.
No kidding.
Yeah, Volume 2. Actually, Volume 1. I like Volume 2, but Volume 1.
All right.
Live at Hotel Cafe.
Your own stuff at Hotel
My
Cafe?
own stuff, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we have 2 records out.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
I didn't discover everything.
No,
I tried, but I missed that one. Wow. Answer carefully here.
Yeah.
New York style or Chicago style?
Chicago.
There he is, yeah.
Hey, there's no careful about that.
No. See,
careful.
you're my people.
Right.
Everybody, I like the thin. It's crackers with tomato sauce.
Where's a good Chicago style pizza in LA?
In LA?
Ooh, that's a great
Not
question.
LA, Vegas. There's a Giordano's in Vegas.
There is a Giordano's in Vegas.
There's a couple places in LA, but I'm not really fans of. But the closest that I've come to Chicago is Vegas.
All right.
Giordano's.
That's worth the trip.
We should go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We're going to be doing a Vegas run anyway.
Come on, man.
Yeah. All right. I like it. All right. Would you rather text or talk?
I would rather text.
Okay. Do you ever go fishing?
Haven't been in a long time since I was a kid.
You like it though?
Yeah. Not really.
Not really?
Nah.
Would you rather be hot or cold?
Ooh, I'd rather be hot. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It just hurts.
I've just lived in the cold all my life. And yeah, that's why I'm here.
Right. The number of people who I know that actually moved to LA because of the weather stuns me. Eli did, right? Yeah. I mean, it just amazes me.
I'm downwind from you, straight from Detroit.
Yeah. Oh, Detroit.
Right,
yeah,
right.
man.
That's
it's
right.
cold there. That's a different type of cold.
No kidding. Man, hip hop or rock?
Hip hop.
Okay. Double pedal or double bass drums?
Double bass drums.
Oh, interesting.
Nice.
I use a double bass drum for Gaga. So
Do you? Okay.
yeah. But it's not it's not like your typical double bass drum use. Matter of fact, somebody hammered me on social media. It was like, "What is a big band player doing?" So I was like, "Have you ever seen Buddy Rich?"
Louis Bellson? I mean,
Louis Bellson. No, I have. I love like the remote,
Okay,
kind of vibe there.
The old
yeah,
Wacko
like
thing.
a 20-inch
Yeah,
over
right.
here, 22 here. And, yeah.
That kit over to your right is that very thing. That
Oh yeah, that's a hang.
That's exactly what it is.
That's a hang.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Yeah, okay. And you got how many kids?
3.
Yeah, they need a dog.
Yeah, I think me and my wife we have our hands full. I think we have 3 pets as well, right?
Nice. What are the ages of your kids?
4, 5, and 13.
Oh my gosh.
And they all have musical names because my wife's name is musical. So her name is Melody.
Okay.
And then my youngest daughter, her name is Symphony.
Nice.
My middle one, who's 5, my boy, his name is Cadence.
Yeah.
And then my 13 is Harmony.
Ah, that's so good.
Our house sounds like an orchestra sometimes.
Doesn't it?
That's not tuned, but it's
and then you're Donald.
And I'm the conductor. That's
okay,
what
we'll go with that. Okay, I like it.
I'm the orchestrator.
I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. The final blast beat question is, why is Grease the greatest movie of all time?
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Says who?
Says me.
I think The Wiz is the greatest.
Oh, it's a
movie
good
of all
one.
time.
It's a good one.
I think the music that I always judge movies a lot by the music.
Of course.
So Quincy Jones kind of
that Ease on Down the Road is that's worth the price of admission, man.
Yeah,
Come on,
man.
I know.
I mean, Harvey Mason and Abraham. Who else was on? Yeah, Abraham Laborio Sr.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, it was crazy.
It was amazing, absolutely.
But Grease is a great movie, though.
It is.
Grease is a great movie.
Anything going on in your world you want to talk about specifically? You got some upcoming stuff, something personal, something maybe people.
There's always stuff going on.
Maybe you like to crochet and you want to talk.
Yeah,
about
I love being a stay-at-home dad.
Do you?
I like it when it's like I don't have to go on the road. I can stay home and just do.
Yeah.
But no, I've got projects out now. Lyle Workman's record just came out, that's littered with every drum hero that I could think of on there. I don't know how I got on there, but
I've heard your track on that.
On there.
I heard your track on it. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's why he's there.
Yeah,
I mean, you
man.
sound fantastic.
Thank you, man. We did a cool special that's on CBS Plus and CBS for streaming. One Last Time with Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga.
Okay.
That was a special that aired last November for Thanksgiving.
Right.
That was Tony Bennett's last show.
Was it?
So to be a part of the last show that he would ever sing was, and I always wanted to play with Frank Sinatra. So that was the closest that I would ever come.
Yeah, that's incredibly close.
So that's cool. I'm getting ready to do PASIC. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Today it really hit me. I was sending my cymbals to get shipped out, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm about to get judged by all these drummers.
Yeah, right. Mount Rushmore has 4 presidents on it.
Don't ask me who they are.
But here's your question. Here's your question.
Teddy Roosevelt.
What is your Mount Rushmore?
Obama.
Not them. What's your Mount Rushmore of drummers? I'm gonna do it kind of by generation versus because there's too many. I mean, there's too many drummers. Yeah.
So I think I would have to start with the first one that I really learned a lot from, and that was Sonny Payne.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's Sonny Payne and Kenny Clark were the drummers with Basie.
Yep.
That kind of got my big band thing going. Fusion was Vinny.
Sure.
Secrets record.
Oh my
Alan
gosh!
Holdsworth.
Yeah.
It literally was child abuse that my music instructor gave me. That I was just my drum instructor. I was like, "What is this? I need more."
I know, right?
Kind of more of your modern vibe. Will Kennedy,
Mm-hmm.
Yellow Jackets. The way he plays the cymbals, I've never other than Tony Williams. Like he's one of my favorite cymbal players.
His drum setup is so wacky right now.
It is wacky now, but it sounds so. It makes it
so
sound so
good.
good. Every time you close your eyes, you're like, "That's Will."
Right?
That's Will.
Yeah.
All the Steves.
All the Steves.
All the Steves and all the Jeffs.
That's funny.
Jeff Carl, Steve Jordan, Steve Gadd. Put them all on there.
We don't have that much mountain space.
Yeah. I mean, Steve Gadd, man.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, come on, man.
Sure.
I mean, dude, you want to throw up when you watch, what he's done and the imprint he's been able to have on this industry. So many drummers, man.
In 3 seasons of doing this and asking that question, you're the first one that ever said Steve Gadd.
Really?
Which shocks me because I always assumed that he'd be 1 or 2 on everybody's list. You're the first one.
Well, there's so many, and it really comes down to who influenced you
specifically.
One of the big records that I heard growing up was Asia.
That's an amazing record.
And as I got older, I got into like the Carly Simon records. I got into the Paul Simon records. I got into the Eric Clapton records, and he was just one of those. Just one of those guys who just like could transform into anything.
That's right.
Grover Washington.
Yeah.
I mean,
if he never did anything but 50 Ways, that in and of itself should earn him a place on everybody's list.
Yeah. I mean, and just the way that he thought about and approached drums. That's right. I think that was just stand out. One of the first to do an instructional video.
Yeah.
I just I mean, but there's so many, man. There's so many.
There really are. Yeah.
Can I keep going? So many.
We're out of mountain space.
Yeah, we're out of mountain space. Yeah. We got to carve. You got to carve more space. Carve more space.
Oh man. Well, thank you so much for this. There's one final question.
I thought that was the final question.
No.
Wait, my agent is outside. Is that the last one? No.
This is the final question of the night. And it is literally the most important question because we might not be able to be friends after this.
Correct.
Okay, so answer carefully.
Great.
Okay, what is your favorite Rick Springfield song?
Ooh, Jesse's Girl.
You can't say
Jesse's Girl. Jesse's Girl. Human Touch was great. Okay. But Jesse's Girl. Well, first of all, like, Don't Talk to Strangers.
So good.
I'm an 80s kid.
Yeah, right.
Like, I grew up 80s, all things 80s, all music 80s. He was a part of that.
Absolutely.
Childhood.
Part of the culture.
A part of the culture in movies and everything, you know. So yeah, no, it was great.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll be okay.
Come on, man.
Well, thank you. This has been a blast. Thanks for being here. And
thanks for having me,
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Anytime.
We'll come to Vegas. I'm coming. We're gonna have some pizza.
Come on, man. We'll do a Vegas hang. Man.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot. We'll be right back after this.
This episode is brought to you by Hearback Pro from Hear Technologies. The ability to hear yourself clearly in a recording or live situation is key to delivering your best, most creative performance. The Hearback Pro system, made up of a hub and individual mixers, allows performers in a session or on a gig the ability to dial in exactly what they need to hear in order to be their best. If you're looking for a solution to allow yourself or your clients to hear themselves better, check out Hearback Pro from Hear Technologies.
What, seriously, I mean, how good is that interview? He is such a warm, inviting person. What a great time we had just hanging out. Some of the best stories were off camera, which is always the case, right, Donald? Thank you so much for being with me tonight, Donald, and I appreciate it. Everybody that tuned in, we have missed you. It's been so long since we've been here. There were so many things that Donald said in that second part of the interview. One person's belief is all it took for Donald to believe in himself. One person's belief is all it took for him to expand his reach, to look beyond what he thought his capabilities were. That means so much to so many people, and so few people are willing to give that. So if you have a moment, one time, where you can make a difference in somebody's life, just like those people did in Donald's, like so many have in my own, take that moment and make it yours. Next week, Karma Auger was going to be here, and we also had a great time. Karma is from Brian Auger's Express. If you don't know who Brian Auger is, check it out. Google him. It's worth watching and worth learning about who Brian is. Karma's interview is an absolute blast. We will see you again next week. Don't forget to join us on the different social media platforms at Groove Diner After Dark on all of them, or the TikTok, my new personal one, at Buddy Gibbons. And maybe I'll figure out what to do other than eat Pringles. I guess we'll figure that out. Until then, thank you to everyone who made this possible. This has been an incredible journey for us. Eli is over there waving, saying thank you to everybody and giving his salutes as well. So thank you, and we will see you again next Monday night, 9 p.m. Yeah, that's it. We'll see you next Monday night, 9 p.m.